Good morning, everyone. This is Don. It is, sorry about that. I think we punched up once or twice. I didn't mean to goof that up. But it's December 18th at about 11:52, and I'm going to take just a short little break and be back around noon. And happy to answer any questions, trading questions. Want us to review a stock? Want us to review an option? We're going to give you an update on some of the option picks we gave you on Monday, what they're doing. Hopefully, some folks got the call option on T-Mobile. We'll look at some future trades as well, and we'll be with you for about an hour. We appreciate the like buttons. We appreciate the retweets. We're kind of regrouping here a little bit and testing some ideas out for next year. And so the more interest and the more participation we have, the more apt we're able to do these YouTube sessions, right? So we'll always do them at least a couple times a week. But if they become more and more popular and become or more populated, and we get more questions and quite frankly a little more interesting for Bagger, then I'm more apt to do them. So I'll be back in just a few short minutes. Thanks. Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Bagger. We be doing it. Kind of a nice time of the year to be trading. Very actually, I don't know if there's a bad time. The only bad time, um, maybe sometimes in August. It can get pretty dull. You know, um, Thanksgiving week is usually an up week. Getting ready to go into Christmas is usually an up week. Um, but again, we have had times when it has sold down. And but in any case, I hope you're getting it done with whatever it is you're doing. I'm Bag of Dawn. This is Stock Market Caddy. We are a mentoring service trying to help those folks that want to trade the markets mechanically and robotically, and to get away from the emotions of fear and greed, minimize those emotions. May not be able to get rid of them entirely, but minimize them. And while maximizing your time and your capital. That's what we're about. Now, you're looking at a view. Now, we started the week at 42.5, and we've been running robotically almost 24/7, almost. We did have some what I would call some mechanical interventions where we mechanically intervened. Last night was one of them, right? And I'll describe for you in a moment what it is we did. Um, we're at 40. Now, we don't have anything on at the moment. The program is running. It is running again. We have rearmed it. So the account is at basically 50,000. So how much is that? 7,500 bucks? 75? Yeah, 7,500. Trading one in Q. Now, if you are trading a micro contract, that would be $700. And you've got to start. Well, one is got to start. Got to start. You can't. Unless you want to play fantasy football. But you got to start, and we recommend and suggest that you start small. And it isn't just. This is the other part is too. When I think about this, and I don't have a script. When we meet like this, I really don't. I'm just gonna chat with you. Let me too. By the way, go to YouTube so I can make sure that we're there. Um, when you're getting started, this is the way I think about it is, everyone's focused on, well, I got to start small and I got to think about each individual trade and I got to think about, my account value and everything is super focused, on the money. Um, we try to make you aware of other things. You want to be thinking about developing a routine, um, you know, and that routine involves a number of things. What it is you're trading, right? What it is you're trading. When are you trading? How much leverage are you using? What time of the day are you trading? Okay, and there the machine just put in a short signal for us, right? So there's the first trade on YouTube. Maybe we will let's benchmark right now. So when we just started, the we had $5,247, right there, right on the screen. Okay, and that account in the span of milliseconds, seconds, we're up $260. Now we could go in and just tag it, but I like the looks of it, right? Let's see if we can get back underneath 25071, which is the R1, and can we get all the way back down to the pivot point? Maybe. Um, but we could come in and grab that trade if we wanted to. Um, but let's let it relax. We'll relax it a bit and let it play out. So it isn't just the um, when you're learning to trade as a business for income. There's more to it than just the individual trade, right? I mean, I could get into like what is this doing and that and that. And you want to focus on that, but it does no good if you don't have the discipline and you don't structure your time to come in and do this and execute. You've got to be disciplined. If you are just like, oh, I'm in between phone calls at work and I got a conference call at 2 and I'm going to trade between 2 and 3 and I'm going to trade Apple today or I'm going to trade options today tomorrow and I'm going to do this and do that. I mean, you're all over the map. You don't get any consistency. And we could have, which we do, wonderful, wonderful programs, and they could be just slipping through your fingers just because you're not disciplined. No, I don't think that's the case. Now we've just been on, right? How long have we been on? Minutes. $1,000. 1,000. There are 24 trading days in a month. Take Fridays off. Take tomorrow off. Today's Thursday. Take it off. And, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be $1,000 a day, but but if it's $100 a day, it's $2,000 a month. If you get yourself to a place in your account and you get $1,000 a day, it's $20,000 a month. That ain't so bad, for no boss, no, not much, a lot of paperwork. I mean, we do keep very good notes, though. Susan's got all our trading journals, and that Susan's behind the scenes, maximizing our time, her time, and my time. Isn't that a beautiful trade there? That is a beautiful thing. Now, if you're just putting it on for the first time, you may, oh, I got to get that money. I got to get that money. If I get that $1,000, we can, have a nice dinner out. Pretty nice dinner these days. Oh, man. All right. So, do we even have anybody here? Is everybody at the mall? Whoops. What happened there? Okay. I think we got one person. I think so. And phone's ringing off the hook. That's a beautiful thing. So we got some folks calling in, and I will return all phone calls. Just leave me a message, and I will return them. And but if also this is an opportunity for you to answer questions. I mean, I just don't know. I always try to. It's like, Susie, how do we show what's possible, right? And that's all. I mean, so we make videotapes, we do clips, but also we do live, right? I mean, we just got on. How long have we been on for? Um, let's see here. Let's see. How long has it we been on? We started at 12. You used to tell me how long I've been here. Um, where is it? Where's our marker? Does it tell me? Mm, we changed some of our YouTube stuff. And I'm looking to, you guys could probably tell me. 2 grand. 2 grand. Now, if you got CNBC on the corner of your TV, you need to turn it off. Because that crap will just make you really, really terrible. Be sure to put it in high def, right? You want to put it in high def. Um, we've been on for, oh, there it is, 24 minutes, $1,800. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. That works. You're not going to learn this at Purdue or at Villanova or at William and Mary or God knows, or Brown. Isn't that beautiful? God almighty. Spending 70, $80,000 to send your beautiful daughter to Brown, and she takes a bullet, and the school can't even tell you who was in the room, can't tell you. I got news for you. I hope that family in Texas sue that school into oblivion. What a disgrace, huh? Higher education. And you get a shit education, the truth of the matter is. I mean, really, this is absurd. But any case, you get a hell of an education hanging out with us. What happened there? Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. It went away for a second. That was crazy. Uh, okay. Stream is healthy. Yeah, for that was weird. YouTube is not currently receiving data for the stream, if you believe it. Yeah, for a moment it went off. Hmm. We haven't had any interruptions of late. So, you know what I'm going to do? The streams are all full. There's a lot of crap going on in the world, right? We won't go there unless you want to chat about it. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our program and I'm going to suspend it. And I'm going to do what we did last night. So I'm going to disable the strategy. There it says, Don, you just disabled it. Do you want to close it? No, do not close. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to set the matrix. I'm going to go to TradeStation Matrix. Where's that little devil? Oh, there it is. And I am going to set a stop. Now, I'm not going to tell you where the stop is. I'm not going to do that. But let's see. Pretty much. Okay, so we're guaranteed to make money on this trade. The program has been suspended, and now we're going to just let it, we're going to get the hell out of the way. And I'm going to chat with you all, or anyone that might come by. But I'm not going to chat with myself. No, I'm not gonna delude myself. And that's okay. But I got to tell you, in time, come next year, if we don't get folks that want to come in and ask trading questions and don't want to watch and don't want to learn, then we probably won't do that many. Quite frankly, I just won't. Um, so the more we have, and we're not going to just punch up for hours and hours on end like what we kind of did during the summer months and let people just kind of blow through. You're going to have to look for us in the middle of the day. You got to ask your questions. I'm happy. I'll set time aside to answer them. And um, and in the meantime, I hope you're getting it done. We'll be nearby. I got visibility um, on the YouTube chat. Any questions, you let us know. I just want to remind everyone, if you are an annual member passing through, you have a choice. You can see these live sessions on YouTube just as anybody can, but you're also able to now see them on the members' website. And so when this broadcast comes to an end, and it will in another hour or so, um, the YouTube session, public session will end. And as an annual member, you can just go to um, the live view and continue to watch it. And that'll be up, give or take, a couple of reboots. That'll be up through 4:15 tomorrow afternoon. That's the plan. Right now, everything is all systems go on that front. We're broadcasting on YouTube at 1080p. We're using ultra low latency, so the delay is about 5 seconds, which isn't bad. We think we can improve upon that maybe a little bit, particularly for the annual members view. On We think we can get that down to maybe like 2 seconds. Um, when you have a TradeStation account, the data feeds are coming to you in 10 milliseconds. The blink of an eye is 200 to, no, 400 to 600 milliseconds. Now, when we do these YouTube sessions, I'm not trying to hand out the fish. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not. Um, but what we are trying to do is create some awareness of who we are, trying to show you what's possible, trying to hopefully inspire you. And for wherever you go, I mean, we won't badger you. And by the way, if anyone is getting an email from us and you find it annoying, because we do send out a lot of different things, some people see them, some don't. But if anybody finds it annoying, just send us a note and say, "Hey, Don, take me off that damn mailing list." I won't do that. No problem. No problem at all. No biggie. No biggie at all. Um, but last night, in full live view, right? We have already heard from annual members that were both watching and trading last night. We have a person, one of our members in Colorado, made several $1,000s last night. He stayed up, probably sleeping in a little bit now. um, but and we took off. We took the manual profit. We took it off here, and that's what we booked, 52.47. So we weren't in that one. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. $3,600 here. 3,600 in what could have been, run up profits, but we didn't get it. But when we just punched up live just a few moments ago, we've been up for 37 minutes. We were flat, and this is where we were, and the machine put us in right here, and I was jawboning. And now, what I have done, and what I did do last night, and I will describe this, and we do this frequently, not every night, but certainly every week. Yeah, I can't. I do like to do this. Susan, not so much. But what I'll do is, if I'm having a good week, if I'm having a good day, I've had a good day, and I'm up late doing some things, and I get myself into a little trade, and the machine gets myself into a little trade, and I get up 3, 4, 500 bucks, which is, trading a mini is kind of a small trade. And what I'll do is I'll suspend if I feel good about it, and I felt very good about it last night. We even said in the nightly video that, we might see a squeeze. That I suspended the automation. I set virtually a break even stop, so I was guaranteed to make at least 100 bucks, and I just let the bitch run. The power's just got to stay on, and we got, backup power and all that, so we're in good shape, and I'm not using, 10 minis that's gonna, hurt me. But you have to learn that, and so I just did the same thing here now. I basically just set a break even. I've got a guaranteed free trade because I can't lose any money, and I'm just going to let the bitch run. Okay. I don't know where it's going. If it goes against me, I'm going to make $100. If it keeps falling, you might say, well, Donnie, you're up 2,800. You better take that money. You better take it. Whoa, baby. No, no, no. I'm oblivious to it. I've done it so many times. I'm oblivious to it. You want to get your trading to a point where you're the money is a byproduct. It's just a byproduct. You know, whenever you've been doing something like let's equate this back to golf. You hit a great shot. Okay, now I get it. Like if you hit a hole in one and you're at Pebble Beach on, what hole was it? 14, 15, and you want to run around with your head chopped off and hoot and holler. I get it. I don't even think I would do that, quite frankly. But but maybe. But are you doing that like every time you hit the green? I mean, you know. So, every time we hit the green or get into the green, I'm not running around, high-fiving. I'm not jumping on Twitter. We made it. Now we do generate the video and generate the email to show what's possible, but I'm not doing it to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. No, I'm doing it to inspire you and hopefully inspire our members and give them a view, right? Um, so, and it's one thing for a person to say, well, we do this, and you see all these things coming up. I mean, we're giving live view, right? So this was last night. We have members that watched it live, and then they have the exact same tools, and they can set it up exactly the same, or they can tweak it and do something a little bit different. I just hope they don't forget me. Don't forget me. If they're doing something a little different, but we're going to show you. And we will, during the course of weeks and months and years, be doing different things. Some will be very productive and some maybe not. Some maybe you like, some maybe you don't. But that's okay. It's a buffet table. But right now, this market is pulling back. And if we come all the way back, I mean, this thing could be up. And I got to tell you, we could be up 7 or 8 grand. So I don't know. And if this thing reverses and we take out the lows again, shit, man, this thing could be like, shit through a goose. And our Nicholas timing model, which is an entirely different tool, it's not intra, it's from day to day. It did flash a warning to all of our members, annual members who have it on their desktop, but we pointed it out to them in case they didn't see it. We pointed it out to our monthly members and it said warning, warning. Now I said, okay, couple of things could happen. I mean, we're going to get a shift. We could get a violent short squeeze, or we could get a drop down. Or guess what? We could get both. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? But it does, you have to put, if it's your dream to write a book one day, right? How many times, folks say, my dream is X. I dream about writing a book. Okay, well, if you never put pen to paper, that book isn't going to get written. I guess maybe if you use ChatGPT, maybe, but who's going to want to read it, right? So it doesn't, what good is that? What fun is that? So if your dream is to fly an airplane and you never, you know, take any action steps, then you're never going to do it. So you cannot realize any of your dreams if you don't take action. Now, I don't think it's a good idea, that you quit your job. Honey, I'm going to write a book and become a novelist. And I'm quit my job and I'm sitting down in my office and now look at me, I'm starting to write on paper. Okay. No, that's probably not a good idea. Honey, I'm going to fly a plane. I'm going down to the airport, the regional airport. I'm going to rent a plane and I'm going to take it up and God damn it, I'm going to fly. No, not a good idea. But how many people say, honey, it's my dream. I want to be a trader. I'm quitting my job. I'm sitting in my office and I got a retirement account and by golly, I'm trading. Oh, okay. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Now, you don't, I mean, I hope not. I hope, well, I say I hope not, but I know because I hear from a lot of people that say, Don, I wish to hell I had talked to you before I lost 30 grand or before I lost 200 grand. And they do it over and over and over again. I can't tell you if I had a nickel for every phone call that I get told that. And I just like, oh, you know. And the thing of it is that, you know, and I bleed for those people, right? Because actually, 25 years ago, whatever, I I didn't do exactly that, but, I did a little of that. And fortunately, I didn't hurt us. And fortunately, I had some maturity to say, hey, this can't be the right way. And then I have to go find it. But, back then, now this is a good thing or a bad thing. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't even have YouTube. We didn't have, and then, we didn't even, discount brokerages. It was still 80, $90 to get into an individual trade. It wasn't there. So it was a little bit. But today, now I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, right? So I mean, I can be chatting with you, and I can be talking. We have members in Norway, we have members in Germany, we have members, in Canada, we have members, of course, in the U.S. All over, and that is a good thing. But also, too, there's a lot of garbage, on the Twitter sphere and in YouTube and stuff, and I see it, and somehow, some way, our members find us, and that's always been, the thought. And it's like, Susie, we will do what we do, and I will do this. Quite frankly, I'm going to do it even if we didn't have a member. Quite frankly, although it has to operate in the black, and it is, and we have members, and Stockmarketcaddie continues to do excellent, which is great. So it's much more fun. But I guess the point being is that we never had expectations of having thousands of members, and we don't, and probably never will, and that's totally fine. Um, but it's just it's just a beautiful thing, and if we can help somebody begin to realize their goals and their aspirations and their dreams. But it is learn to trade your game, right? Not mine, not Susan's, right? So I'm going to be here. If anyone has any questions about, what we're doing, what we've done. Now, the brick size, this happens to be a Renko, right? Annual members can always inquire, what is the program? What are the settings? You just send us a private text or private email. Always happy to tell everybody. And again, this was up, so there's no sleight of hand here. We weren't up on YouTube. We can't be up on YouTube, to that extent. But the overnight trading session was completely live. Now the live feed is back up on the members' website. The reason why we took it down was we were using Zoom, and Zoom, we just outgrew it. The image quality wasn't good, the latency wasn't good, and then we set out over a period of months to research and to test the various products that are out there. And there's a number of them, but they weren't really that much better, quite frankly. And so if you are watching on YouTube, hopefully this is the other part too. I didn't realize that when you punch up, it should come up automatically in high def. If it isn't, let me know. We're broadcasting in 1080p, which is the best. Now, the machine just triggered a trailing stop there, and it's still in the position. It is not. I turned it off, right? I'm flush. I'm flush. I'm flush for the day. I'm flush for the week. I've got a break even there. I'm going to relax the grip on this trade, and if it comes back, and I only make $100, then I only make $100. But I don't know what that's going to do. You don't know, and it just as easily we might come up and flirt around with this little area here and turn right back down and crater out, and our high watermark on the account goes from 3235 to 7,000, 10,000. Now this has to be an acquired skill, and it's also an acquired emotion, right? This, and I know, okay, and this is very individual. If Susan, she might be watching from the other room. She might be. But if she was sitting beside me, this trade would be eating her alive, even today. Because Susan trades very aggressively, and she is not comfortable. If she saw that we were up 3,000, and she saw that I let that thing come back, that bothers her. Um, that's okay, right? She has her trading style. She has her trading personality, and there's no really changing that per se. We she knows what it is. I know what it is. She works with certain tools, and she's very, very effective. Um, my trading personality is to let the bitch run, so it won't bother me. I'm so beyond that it just won't bother me. It's not going to be. So psychologically, think about this, right? For me, you see the little asterisk beside, see the up in that position window, NQZ25, the asterisk there? The asterisk means that there's a stop there. And that stop, if we come back far enough, that stop is going to pay me like 200 or 300 bucks. So mentally, the way that I'm thinking about this, the trade that I have on right now, and it's not automated. I turned off the automation, right? So I turned off the automation, and I went what we call mechanical. So then I physically place the stop. So mentally, the way I look at it is like, all right, I'm flush for the week, taking the account from 42.5 to where we are right now, 51.5. We made 5,200 bucks overnight in a live view, and I got another fat one on. I got another fish on, tuna on. If I come back and I only make 200, fine, no big deal, no big deal. But it very well may just a little counter, a little Fibonacci retracement here. We might turn around and crater right back out. And if we can go back down, if we can, and I don't know, if we can go back and revisit the open and revisit the lows, that account could go up 7,000. It could go up really big, and I know that from where I'm at. But I just described the emotions, which are basically no emotions, right? So if you go out, if you go to North Miami, we did this, years ago. My brother-in-law came down, and I treated him. We went to North Miami Beach, and I took him out sail fishing. Beautiful, beautiful. Have you ever done that? It's beautiful off of North Miami. We didn't catch a sailfish, but we caught other fish. We had a great time, and it was really, really exciting to catch. We didn't get a sailfish, but we caught these dolphin. And if you ever caught, not dolphin, not flipper, but the other dolphin, and they're green, they're big green, beautiful fish, wonderful to eat, and they fight like a son of a bitch. And when they come through the water, We're just off the coast too of Miami. You can see the skyline and everything, and you're in the Gulf Stream. And when these dolphins come through the water, they're changing colors from green to blue. They're absolutely beautiful, and we're just having a ball. I mean, we're excited and catching them, really excited. Well, the deckhands and the guy driving the boat, he's having a good time. I mean, but then I mean, they do it every day. They do it every day. It's no big deal. Um, Now, are we going to make $5,000 every night or every day? No, we're trading one mini. Of late, the fishing's been phenomenal. It really has. The trading and the fishing has been phenomenal. Um, but it may not be that way every single day, right? You may go out and so it there's a mental aspect to this that you got to work through, and you've got to be made aware when you guys go through the Q school with me for 3+ weeks. We get to know each other really well, and and I get to know your trading personality. um, and it is what it is, and I can help around the edges, and I can help you choose certain programs, and I can help you also think things through from a sizing standpoint. In the end, though, in the end, I'm not going to be casting the line for you. I mean, you can watch it live. You can watch me fish. You know, you want to shadow. I mean, I don't think that's going to be that much fun necessarily. Necessarily. But if you were watching last night, let me just show you something here, too, by the way. But I guess where I was going with this, it's learning to trade your game. And once you become aware of something, whatever that something is, you will begin um, to learn, right? And you can begin to maybe change behavior. Now, if you get emotionally attached, right, and this thing might come up and tag us, it might, and I might turn around and put it right back on in the right spot, but it might. I also had in back I can remember back years ago I had a gentleman, one of our members when he first started, and one of his first trades, like he made $500. One of the first trades. It's Don. I'm so excited. I can't believe I made five. Don, I made $500. We're talking on Zoom. He's like, I want to go outside and I want to run up and down the street and I just made $500 in minutes, Don. I'm so excited. I can't. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. I let him. And then I just said, whoa, wait, wait. I said, I'm happy for you. I'm thrilled for you. I said, but we need to do this over and over and over again, right? Not every trade's going to be that way. I said, quite frankly, I said, some of these trades are going to be $5,000. They might even be bigger, right? So, so I need to, I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad that you feel good about it. I'm not trying to tell you that you shouldn't necessarily, but, this is what we do. This is what you're going to be doing. And, just keep it, try to keep it in like a courtroom demeanor, um, like a lawyer. Now this would, right, and I'm not even going to tell Susie unless she's watching, that this would, if we get tagged out, that would really really eat at her, but it doesn't eat at me. Um, I don't think now. You may not know. You may think it's going to eat at you, but you may not know. So let me share with you another gentleman. Another gentleman worked with us, and he took a relatively small account. I've told the story, ad nauseum. You may be hearing it for the first time. He took a small futures account, from a few grand, 5 grand to like 20 grand, and then he had a very specific approach, and he started trading Ethereum. Long story short, he was hugely successful. more successful than us, right? One of the biggest success stories that we've had, but also one of our biggest personal failures because I didn't do what he did, and I should have. Right? And I'm like, shit, I'm going to learn. I need to listen more. I need to pay attention more from members. But he said to me, his name was Logan, and he said to me after he had done what he had done and still doing it, he said, Don, do you remember when I started? I said, I do. He goes, do you remember how concerned I was when I lost $300 on a trade? I said, I do. He goes, Don, it used to really, really bother me. And he said, when I would be grinding and grinding, I said, I know. He says, Don, do you know, like in the past year, I've had trades that are six figures. That means like over, 100 grand or more. And he goes, Don, I don't even bat an eyelash. It's just like nothing. And I'm like, I know. I know. We can only make you aware. We are looking at, and we just got tagged. All right. We just got tagged. All right. Um, Now we'll let it play out. I'm actually kind of glad that it did, right? Because it make it look too easy, right? Now maybe you would have done something different. But if you're thinking that I would have done this, I definitely would have taken the money. I definitely would have taken the money. I would just say not so fast, not so fast. I think that you will do better, right? And I can't change Susan's trading personality, although I've helped shape it and help her make it aware. The reality of it is, Susie probably would have never got to 3,200, right? She would have got up 7, 800 or 1,000, went pretty fast, and then she would have just nailed it. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. But I do lean on everybody. How, hello, which indicators you use? Okay, so I'll answer the question in a moment, Alex. Um, so you just become aware. I guess is the point. Let me just um, share this, and at the same time answer that question. What indicators? So let me get a pen and show you what's here. Now, by the way, we have at current count 70. Probably after the first year, probably 75. I mean, we're busy developing new proprietary trading tools. So when Raul asked me, Raux, asks, which indicators we use, we have over 70 proprietary tools. So if this is what you're doing, um, you'll be disappointed um, with us. Let me get a marker. Other people are going to do this. They're going to go. Um, Let me go here. Let me go to see if I can go to a blank screen here. Be with me. All right, I'm going to go to a blank screen. And what you'll do is you'll get on. You'll go into a trading room, and they're going to say something like, okay, so we got candles, and you learn about candles, and we got this type of candle, and then we got doji candles, and we got this and we got that, and when you get three of these that do this, and then you get another, you get an engulfing candle, and engulfing, and it's up, it means that. And then what you do is you get a moving average. This is the two moving average. And then you get an 8 moving average, and then when the 2 crosses here, you do this, you do that, and then on top of it we go down in here, and then we get volume bars, and oh yeah, we got the volume bars, and when the volume bars are doing this and they're doing that and then doing this, and so now when you get this and you get that and you get this and you get that, oh, you know what, let's get another study in here, and it's the RSI. Let's get the RSI in here. And I'm running out of room. We'll put in the RSI. When the RSI is in an overbought condition or in an oversold condition, you're going to do this. And then maybe we get some stochastics. And the next thing you know, you get the idea. You don't know whether to wind your ass or scratch your watch. You're so goddamn confused. And I get it because I did all that, right? Now, there are pieces, like everything, there might be pieces that are valid, but most aren't. All right? So, what are we doing, right? What are we doing? Um, let me clear this here. Let me get an eraser, right? And I love these questions because it gives us a chance to kind of showcase and then also describe the approach to the trading. All right, so let me go back here. We'll go back to the screen. All right. Um, Now this is enticing to me. I may very well on another screen if I put the order in. I tell you what, let's turn the strategy back on. Okay, so I'm going to go. I have another screen, and I turned the strategy off. So let me turn it back on in case I'm busy doing something, and it will go back on. All right. Okay, so the strategy is back on. So if the trade goes in, the machine will put it in, just as it did here, right? Now I made a couple $100 here, and we had a $3,000 run up, and the machine made it. So you might want to know is like, how much would the machine have made since midnight here? And I'm going to go back to the indicators in a minute. So I can show you. Let's go here to strategy performance report, and we'll come here. So if we had let the machine run overnight, and you can see she would have had other losing days, right? So it's not perfect, right? There's a performance graph, but let's go here. It would have made 4,595, give or take, right? But I've done better. I've done better, right? So that's a good thing. You can interact with these machines. So what do we have here for indicators? See, what's different is that our software is speaking to you in English and it's decision-making software. It's not just showing you, it's actually giving you specific information that you need to learn to work with. But let me get a marker and start writing this up a little bit. So one of the tools here is this one, Swing Machine, Swing Machine Plus. Now, those of you that have been nearby are probably very, very familiar with it. Let me, by the way, bring up YouTube again here so I can see your questions. So bear with me. It's just me right now. Susie's out running the credit card. All right, so Swing Machine, and here is the NQZ. Now, I'm not running this program. I could be. I have it set at 500 seconds. 500 seconds. We could set that at a tick level for 500 transactions. We could set it as we have seen it at a minute level, at an hourly level. We could. And I'll show you what that might look like. By the way, for those of you that are stopping by, if you've been trading a stock or an option of a stock and you want me to plug in your stock and you tell me the interval, we'll do a real-time check on how Swing Machine would be suggesting you handle that trade. 80, 80, 500 seconds ago, Swing Machine goes long. By the way, that's not my stomach. That's my golden retriever sleeping or dreaming. And it was at 2:03 this morning. 2:03. If you had put on a mini contract one, you're up just on this trade. If you did it this way, you'd be up not 1.131%. That's the difference between the entry price and where we are. But you'd actually on one mini, you'd be up $6,500 at 2:03. If you had done it with a micro, you'd be up 650. If you had done it with 10 minis, you'd be up 65 grand. As well, so it gives you the percentage return between the entry price, and we can do this with stock, right? So please feel free, Raul, if you got a stock or you got something you're monitoring or something you're in, profit seems good, but drawdown is also high, I observed. How can we reduce it if we want to use with prop firm? Okay, so there's about 3 or 4 things embedded in there. So I'll answer your question, and then coming across, we have the trend information, and then we also have more information here between panic and euphoria. But you need to understand these are mathematical models here. They're written out in English, but you need to understand what that means and what the statistical significance is of these. So it isn't just like, oh, we're going to do, it's not, when they're not winging it. And then not loaded in here is the pivot information that we can also load in. You can hear my dog is dreaming. Or he, yeah, it's Ted. He's dreaming about the dog park. So, I don't know if you can hear him. That's not my stomach. Oh, he's having a grand old time. He is barking up a storm in his sleep. Doesn't seem he's having a good time. Oh, now he's growling. All right, but drawdown. All right, so what is a drawdown? A drawdown is when you put on a trade and you see in your first thing is you have a run up, right? And the stock or the trade runs up $500, and then it comes back and you're at zero, and then or you put the trade on and it goes down $500. That's a drawdown, right? A drawdown. Run ups and drawdowns. So nothing goes in a perfectly straight line, and your account doesn't go in a perfectly straight line. So embedded in there, but drawdown is also high. So when our members are putting on trades, they're trading like machines. They're actually, hopefully the machine is putting on the majority of the trades and in managing things like drawdowns. So you get to set that, and but you can't trade without having a loss. That's not possible. And you can't trade without drawdowns. You can't. The way that we control you got to control your losses. We can use stop losses. We can use technical exits. But you are going to have losses and you are going to have drawdowns. Where you want to be focused on is before you start trading is where what kind of capital do you have, and have all those probabilities in your amount of capital that you can trade. Because the biggest mistake that we see people make is they over leverage. They over leverage. They don't account for the drawdown, or they have an unrealistic view. So, for instance, we have I'll get a phone call from a person, and I'll share with you, and I'll have a question that I like to ask. And usually I don't disclose this on YouTube because I like to get it, but I'll go ahead and ask. And I'll say, okay, the machine just placed this trade. I did not do it, right? So we've already experienced approximately a $35 drawdown, because we don't know what the outcome of that trade's going to be. Um, the machine has parameters to take me out and go the other way, um, and I could always intervene. But what I'm not doing, what most retail traders are doing, is I'm not over leveraged. One single trade isn't going to make me rich. One single trade isn't going to break my trading account, and it's really not even going to impact me. But if you're putting on trades and your eyes are glued to the position window, and this is the other part of your question, you're asking about prop firms. I don't use props firms. Um, we have members that do. So I don't know them. I'm not going to say anything good or bad about them, but I don't use them. And, I'm in a fortunate position that I don't have to. I have enough rules and enough, um, guidelines that I don't need, a prop firm imposing more rules and guidelines on me. I got enough. But I guess where I was starting to go is I'll ask folks what is their Apex funding. Yeah, I don't even want to mention their name. $3,000 draw limit. Yeah. So I don't even really give a shit about. I wouldn't even give a shit about their drawdowns, right? Their limits. I mean that's like a third party induced. Would make no sense to me. You have to know the market that you're trading, know the program that you're trading, and then set out from there. By the way, I just want you to know, last week the CME had a challenge, right? We do this. We've been doing this a long time. There were 2,300 futures traders nationally that registered for that challenge. We finished number 6 out of 2,300. That's our best finish. We had another one. There were 3,000. We finished number 7. We had another one. We finished 20. We were determined to win it. Um, so, we've been doing this a while. Um, so we're experiencing, now this is a draw, right? This is a draw. Um, but where I was going with is, well, thank you. The When a person calls, I'll ask like, well, how much money? There are 24 trading days in a month. This is the way I think about it, right? There are 24 trading days in a month, and I'll ask this question: if you are able to realize your trading dream, in fact, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll ask everybody that's here if anybody wants to answer. If you were to realize your trading dream, how much money on a per day basis, in the course of a month, there are 24 trading days, do you need to make it worthwhile? How much money? So I'm just going to deposit that with everybody. If anybody wants to answer, feel free to put the number in there. But how much money? Now, if it's $100 a day, that's 2,000 a month, right? A day. Now realizing, I mean, we're talking about, it's there's some flex here, right? Um, but so we'll give folks a chance. Oh, is that Tina? It is Tina. Hey, Tina. So Tina, you've heard this 100 times. So, so I'll just keep going. So if it's $100 a day, it's 2,000. And then a person will say to me, "Well, I want to make $1,000 a day." All right, that would be $24,000 a month. Yeah, that's what I want to do. But I want to take Fridays off, so I want to make $20,000 a month. Okay. Um, Good to see you, Tina. That would be nice, right? That's an annual income of $200,000 a year, right? And then I'll say to the person, okay, if you're out to make $1,000 a day, what happens if you lose $1,000 in one day? Oh shit! I can't do that. I'm like, well, what do you mean you can't do that? Well, I only have $5,000 in my account. If I have two losing days back to back, then I can't. I may not be able to trade the mini. So you have to have a realistic view. If you set out to make X amount of money on a given day, that's going to be your trading, approach, your goal. Then you need to be prepared financially, mentally, to lose that amount of money. Sometimes it could be a little bit more, sometimes a little, on a given day. And if your account can't handle it, so if you have $5,000 in your account, can you get into a mini contract? Yeah, they'll give it to you. They'll give you the margin to do it. Sure, you can do it. But if you lose $1,000 on your first day, you're going to lose 20% of your trading capital. That's not good. You could be out of business in just a couple of days. So you have to be realistic. Now the good news is when we started, we didn't have micro contracts, right? We didn't have them. You had to use minis. But if you're trading a micro contract and instead of losing $1,000, you lose $100. Okay, you got a $5,000 account, you lose 2%. Okay, it's not going to break, it shouldn't, it's not going to break the bank. You know, you might even want to tighten it up, right? You might want to tighten up your goals. Well, Don, you mean to tell me that I got to trade for months and months and months and you know and get just trading a micro, making $50 a day or $100 a day? Yeah, you might have to do a couple of things. You might have to do it to learn learn the tools, get accustomed to drawdowns. So if you were trading a micro here, for instance, you would have had a drawdown not of $700, but a drawdown of $70. You wouldn't have had a run up of $20. You would have had a run up of $2. Well, that's boring. I don't want to do that. You have to learn. You have to learn. And then when you take your account, so when you spend, hopefully, you may do it in a matter of weeks. You may do it in a matter of months. It also depends upon what's happening in the market at that time. But I'm going to tell you, you will be much better served if you stay disciplined and very mechanical, very algorithmic, and don't get lopsided. And you take an account, which is what Logan did. I I mean, you took a futures account from 5,000 to 10,000. So then maybe when you take your account from 5,000 over a period of time and you take it to 10,000, and then you do what? And you will have learned a lot. You have seen a lot. You get real comfortable with the market. You get comfortable with the noise. Oh, that's just noise. I don't need to panic. But if you put on so much leverage that like I'm down $700. Holy shit, the wife's gonna kill me. I better get out. I better get out. Oh man, she's gonna kill me. You can't be doing that to yourself. You drive yourself to drink. It's no way to live. When you get to $10,000, maybe, and you've established a track record for yourself, then maybe you trade two micros. And on the NQ, by the way, in today's volatility, trading one micro, you can make you know 100, 200, 300, 400. I mean, you can do it. I mean, overnight, this one would have paid with a micro would have paid $500. But you got to stay, you got to keep your emotions in check, and you got to stay patient and understand what you're doing. So then when you get to 10,000, you get to 15,000, to 20,000, you incrementally just, you can ratchet up a little bit, a little bit. But even then, there are going to be limits because, even here, I could come in with a lot more leverage, but I'm not going to do that. I'm a professional trader. I'm doing this day in and day out. I don't need to do that. There's a maturity to this. Does that make sense? Um, the other question is, Tina's heard this. How do we keep score? Right? How do we keep score? Um, so let me give you my scorecard for today since midnight. So I'm going to go and I'm going to let me do this here. I can push a couple buttons at TradeStation. Let's see. Why isn't that giving me that? 1218. Huh. Well, that's kind of weird. Well, try that again. Huh. That is not giving that to me. All right, so I'm not going to be able to give it to you. I'm not sure why that is. Anybody else had an issue with that? Let me know in case we get any annual members there. So I'm not going to be able to give it to you. Very unusual. Um, but what I wanted to go get, um, let me pull back up YouTube so I can see you. So um, the is how you keep score. So let me just ask everybody this question. Trader A, Trader A has a trading week with they have a gross profit of $10,000. Last week, they made $10,000. I'll back up. I'll do it this way. Sorry, I haven't been done. Last week, the Trader A, Trader you make $5,000 is your net. 5,000. This week, you make $800. With the information that I just gave you, or your thought process, which week did you trade better? Right? I'll just jump to it because I won't toy with you. Most people will grade their performance on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, even on an annual basis, based on the amount of money that they make. So what happens is, and this is very subtle and very debilitating, because they start competing for the money. So they'll say, man, I netted $5,000 last week, and this week I only made $800. That sucks. I did shitty. And the reality of it is, they don't really even know how to keep score. The way you keep score is this: you take the gross profit of your week. So let's say last week that person had a gross profit of $10,000. They had a gross loss of 5,000. 10,000 gross profit minus the gross loss gives them a net of $5,000. When you take the gross profit and divide by the gross loss, it gives you a metric called profit factor. In that example, the profit factor was 2. The person was making $2 for every dollar they lost or expended, and we include commissions. So it gives them a reference point. The week that they made 800, I didn't tell you, but I'll tell you now. They had a gross profit of $1,000. They had a gross loss of $200. Their net profit was gross profit minus gross loss, $800. But what was their profit factor? $1,000 divided by $200, the gross loss, meant they had a profit factor of 5. They were making $5 for every dollar they expended. So granted, they only made 800 compared to the week before, but they traded much, much better in the week that they trade less, for less money. In fact, they traded 2.5 times better. So in the first case, they had a profit factor of 2, and in the second case, they had a profit factor of 5. That's how we keep score. When you have a profit factor that's below 1, you're a losing machine. You're just losing money. You're just at the Indian casino, just gambling away. You're losing money. When you have a profit factor between 1 and 2, you're profitable, but boy, you are working really hard. You are putting shingles on a roof in Florida during the summer. You're working really hard. 2 to 3, we consider that average. When you get above 3, we consider that above average. And that profit factor varies from day to day and from week to week. We have most certainly had a number of members now that have profit factors for a week that are 90 or 100. We'll pick 90. Knowing now what you know about profit factor. If that person lost $100 for the week and he had a profit factor of 90, he made how much? He made $9,000 for the week. If he lost 1,000 and he had a profit factor of 90, he made 90 grand. See, I don't even want members to tell me the amount of money they're making or anything, because I don't want to feel shitty when they tell me that they made X amount of money on a given day or in a given week, maybe a lot more money than me, but I just want to know about their profit factor. I don't need to know. Everyone comes at this with different size bank accounts and different thing. So now the question is, before I ask you about the broker, how long have you been trading? How long have you been following this guy, that guy, reading this, reading that, reading about stochastics, reading about or moving averages and lines on a chart and da 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 da? And how much money, and how long you've been trading and what have you been trading? And now I'm going to ask you, I won't sandbag you here, but what was your profit factor yesterday? What was your profit factor last week? What was your profit factor last month? Last year? 2 years before that? And I'm going to deposit with you, and this is tough love, but if you don't know, You're just wasting your time. I'm sorry, you are. You're wasting your time. You're not trading as a business. You're not treating it as a business. You're treating it like, I open up a Robinhood account and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to start trading and I'm going to start making. You're doing the Reddit thing or the Discord thing or, so, you know, yeah, I'm a boomer, but, um, you got to have a mature approach on this. We have members that are in their 20s, and these dudes are super mature, man, when it comes to their trading. I mean, I can tell you some stories on some of these. They're kids to me, but man, they are wicked serious about what they're doing and really, really good. And maybe Daniel's listening. I think of Daniel. Daniel, I hope you're doing well. Daniel's in Norway. Real serious dude. Real mature. I mean, he's 28 years old. I mean, it's like very, very mature trading approach, trading attitude. And so you got to decide, and if you haven't been doing it, when are you going to do it? And, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to see you waste your time. So, when you ask me like, indicators and stuff, I'm just not here to like, so somebody can affect one trade. Anybody can have one winning trade. But I want to see you, let's see you place on the CME challenge. And by the way, if you're following somebody and they have a business, ask them to get into the CME challenge. And if they tell, yeah, well, that's, this simulation, that don't count. Not, oh, bullshit. Bullshit. Everyone's got to play by the same rules. Now, there's some aspects to that challenge that I don't like because they got to, in order to place, you got to use maximum leverage, and we don't teach that. But by the same token, it's a week long. Everyone's got to play by the same rules. I can't automate it. I gotta affect the trades. By the way, the people who won traded a couple hundred times. I only traded 18 times last week while doing everything else that we're doing, our own trading and everything else. I did 18 times, and we placed number 7. Um, and the challenge that we placed I'm sorry, we placed number 6. The challenge that we placed number 7 at 5 in the morning on the last day, I was number 2. So, that's not an accident. And virtually, there was one challenge that we lost money, one, and I just got sidetracked. But everyone's got an excuse, but we did. And but every other challenge we have been in the top at minimum 10%, but the top 5%, mostly top 1 to 2%. Um, so ask them to do it. I mean, you can register too. There's going to be another one. CME is now doing them every month. So there's going to be another one in January. I got paperwork I got to fill out because they're now giving us a little bit of a spiff for for placing number 6. So we'll do it again in January. We're determined to win it. But ask your people to do it. I want to see them do it. And by the way, like I say, the 5,000, we have members. This thing was up live on our webpage that they were, as an annual member, they were watching and they were trading alongside of it. I heard from them. Like, Don, I didn't set, it was just neat to see what you were doing, to see how you set it up. And they got all the tools, you know. But let me show you this. This is crazy. I mean, all right. Let me This is midnight right here. This is midnight, right? So this is the R1, the pivot, all right? Do you see this little green dot? Okay, that green dot shows up at the start of this brick right there. Could you have made $400 on that one brick? One right there, this one. There's one. Could you have made one here? There's two. Could you have made one here? There's three. This one here, you would have lost. So, and you would have lost like 2.5. So you'd be in like net 1. You know where I'm going. But could you have made one here? We're back to maybe 2, the count, 3. My point being is, if you want to play, it's just, you could be playing off of these dots. Each one of these is $400. Or using a micro, 40. Or using two micros, 80. Or using three micros, 120. That is going to be determined by your account size and also your experience and confidence level. Trust me, I can put on enough leverage to scare the shit out of me. Okay. I mean, I can, right? Um, I'm not going to do that. I don't live my life like that, right? I don't drive the car. When I go drive the car to Lowe's later today, I'm not going to drive the car at 80 or 100 miles an hour. But yet, young people will come in to the trading game and they're putting everything in. They want to do it all tomorrow. They want Bitcoin to go to $1 million a coin tomorrow, and they're putting everything on. That is not a mature approach, right? It just isn't, kids. So, um, any case, I kind of ran. Which broker do you recommend? I have no affiliation at all, um, but by far the best is TradeStation. They're based in Plantation, Florida. They're owned by Mitsubishi Bank, and they're superb. Their platform is superb. We could not build the trading tools that we build without them, without their technology. So, do you see that little position window up there, Raul? We had a $705 drawdown, and we had a $400 run up. We're at 380, right? Now, I could intervene and just go ahead and take that, right? I could. Um, and maybe we should, right? Maybe we should. So, just to demonstrate, I'm going to go to the screen that thing is running on. This is a copy of it. So I'm going to go because I don't need my account information. So I'm going to disable the strategy. This prompt comes up and it says, Don, you just disabled the strategy. What do you want to do? Close position. I just closed it. Can you do that? Yeah, you can do that. It's not against the rules. So when we started this live session, our account was at $5,247. We're at 5,715. We made 500 bucks in an hour and a half. Now, we did have a run up of some $3,500 and I didn't take it, but I wasn't trying to demonstrate anything to you. I wasn't trying to do that. I was doing what I do and showing you, but we could have, right? And you could have. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine back on, the strategy. Now I don't want to give anyone the impression that you don't have to have trading skill because you're running a trading robot. That would be the wrong thing. You do. You do. Just because you have the money to go buy yourself a small plane, and just because that plane has an autopilot, I'm not going to get in the seat beside you. And I don't think it's a good idea, JFK Jr., that you take the plane and you fly it over your skill set. You go flying off of Cape Cod in the middle of the summertime in the fog, and you don't have instrument training. The next thing you know, you're going to kill everybody, including yourself. Don't do that. Right? Not a good idea. I can go to Lowe's and I can buy a skill saw. It's a tool. And I can buy the wood. And I can buy other tools. But that doesn't mean that I have the skill set to build myself a staircase or to fix the molding. Folks have told the story. Fix the molding on the trim around the corner of my house. It had trim, and it came together. And I said, Susan, I can do that. I told her, why don't you just hire somebody? I can do it, Susie. I just need to go get a skill saw. I go get a skill saw, and I buy the wood, and I get the stuff, and and I'm eyeballing the thing, and I cut it out nice and clean, and it comes together at a 45-degree angle. Well, how hard can that be? Well, it wasn't coming together just at a 45, it was coming together at a slant. So I had a 45-degree angle at a slant. Susie, I got to go back to Lowe's. What for? I got to get more wood. I got to go back to, it was like, I need more money in the account, right? Doing that number, right? I got to go back get wood. Like, Donnie, why didn't you just hire someone? I can do it. I can do it. Finally, I had my neighbor driving by, and he sees me with a skill saw in my hand, and I got the ladder, I guess he could tell I was frustrated, and I got a pile of wood, and he stops the car and he gets out. I think he even left the car running. It's like, Don, what the hell are you doing? I said, I'm trying to fix this. He goes, well, what's with all the wood? Are you like, Jesus, are you gonna cutting up firewood? He goes, Don, give me the saw. And I'm like, okay. And he makes a couple of pencil markings. He makes the cuts, and then I put them right up there, and it's a perfect match. I'm like, Jesus. But he's a master carpenter. He's a master. He's a master carpenter. So now I think I could have learned. I mean, he showed me how to do it, but you know what? I haven't done it since, and I haven't touched the skill saw since. Partly, I'm not really that passionate about working with wood. I'm not really that interested in carpentry. So I'm probably not going to learn how to build a staircase or do much of anything else, right? You got to have a passion about what it is you're doing. Now, the other piece is to this too. I've had folks call, and I'm telling you things, and it could be you, and I may not risk, but it's a good thing. Like if you choose, like, hey, I'm not going to join Stock Market Caddy. I don't like the messaging. I don't. That would be a good thing. So you don't waste any money, you don't waste any time, and I don't want to waste time. But I had one person call, and he just said, Don, um, trading really isn't my passion. I said, okay. Well, and this gentleman was from the Balkans. And I said, well, what is your passion? He goes, I want to do real estate. And he wanted to get into real estate development and stuff. And he goes, so I just want to trade and make some money so I can go do that. I'm like, I don't think I would do that. He goes, what do you mean? I said, if you want to get involved in real estate and in development, go do that now. Well, I don't have the money yet. Well, go to work for somebody and apprentice with them and do whatever, beg, borrow, whatever, and learn that business and go do that business. And he goes, Don, that's probably really good advice. That's probably, and I heard from him afterwards, and that's what he went off and did. And that's okay, right? That's okay. That's why I don't do tabletop displays like at the home show, and you too can trade and do that. No, the 5 or 6 people that are coming by here today, you guys are rare birds. I mean, you have a passion to want to do this. But I don't want you to think that this robot alone is going to print you money. You got to have good acquired skill. So, one of the things that I would want to, I would be sharing with the members is this is the daily pivot. We're at the R1. This is probably going to fail again up here, you know. So it's a good place to have intervened. Last night we were down on the S2. That was a good place to get long, and I knew that, and I did it, and was rewarded for it. Wasn't a guarantee. My risk reward was measured, right? But I'm interacting with swing machine, with these C points, with this pivot information, and all of this can be mechanized, can be automated, all of it. So I'm going to let you watch. I've got to return a couple of phone calls. We got a number of people here. The machine is armed again, right? It's armed again. And I obviously, this went in here, so that was $400. We only made a few, and there was another 400. So if you went in here, one, two, on a mini, that's $800. On a micro, that's $80. Now you can't belittle, I only made 80. You can't be trying to get, you can't be, trading um, a micro every day and trying to make $1,000 a day with a micro, because that would be like trying to make $10,000 every day with a mini. And there are days that we can do that, but that's not every day by any means, right? So you got to understand where that is. That makes sense. But all good questions. And we have been doing this now for years. Hey, Damien, how are you? We'll let folks kind of populate. So we've been kind of running off. We're an hour and a half in. But what I want everyone to know, as a member to Stock Market Caddy, there's basically two levels of membership here, and we probably have some annual members that are here too. Um, the we have a monthly membership, and it's $100 a month, and it's month to month, right? We don't do any Christmas specials, sign up for 10 years and do all. We don't do that. It's month to month. And if you're getting good value, you'll stay. We got a very, very high retention rate. What do you get for that? You get a nightly market video of all of our algos that are chock full of trade opportunities, not just futures, but stocks and therefore options, right? So you get a lot. Annual members, annual members get everything that you see here, but everything else. 70 proprietary tools, proprietary show me studies and paint bars, radar screens, and strategies, full bore strategies that are very sophisticated. We can run multiple markets, multiple time frames, hedging strategies. This is very, very simple what we're showing here. And that's fine, right? Simple is good. Boring is good, right? And you're going to be bored shitless. That's a good thing. We don't want to be flying around, all getting all excited. That's for Reddit, for Discord. Um, so that is the difference. Now, the annual members have a dedicated members website that you don't see. If you go there, you can't get in, but it's called smcproshop.com, and they get a password there, and they access everything there. They also have a live feed so that when our computers come on Sunday night at 6, they can go and they can see what we're looking at. Now we got multiple screens. We got to keep it at one screen, but they can see. So I heard this morning, um, we have members. We have one member in particular I'm thinking of because he sent me a note, and he was from Colorado, and keep his privacy. And he said, Don, I punched up last night, and made several grand. He was just. It's like, Don, I didn't have the same settings that you had. I really like the look, and it was like, okay, great. We stimulated some ideas, and we will learn too from other members, and that's live. So when this YouTube session comes down, um, it, this is a public view showing the annual members. They have everything on their desktop. They don't have to patch in, but if they want to patch in, they can. They have the means to do that, and we have the technology to do that now, which is kind of cool. Now we're not running a trading room per se, right? I'm not in here like, buy this, buy that, sell that. We're not doing that. Um, it is learn to trade your game. If anybody is here, Damien, if you, I always like to do this. If you have any stocks that you want me to plug into Swing Machine, we're not trading Swing Machine per se, but we'll get Swing Machine. This went off at 2:03 in the morning. But if you want me to plug in your stock on a daily or an hourly interview, I'm happy to do that. Now I can change this interval. By the way, let's go ahead and do this. I'll change the interval, see if I can, without messing up my screen. Let's put the NQ on a 5 minute. Okay, so the NQ went long 12 5 minute segments ago at 12:45. So it's less than an hour. You're up 1,100 bucks. Maybe you want to trade it at a 60-minute view. Let's go look. 4 hours ago at 11 a.m., it's up 700. Now this one's going to make you puke. Put it on a daily view. Okay. No, I'm glad. Yeah, it makes you puke in a bad way. Okay, so I didn't expect to see it, but that's okay. The daily view, kind of glad, it did go short 2 days ago, and she is down 9 grand. All right, so that is swing machine will have drawdowns and will have losses. Right, it will. Um, Now, and when we go through the Q school, we teach you how to manage those, right? So what we don't want to have is a negative outlier, either on at this level or even at a daily level, right? Um, but we wouldn't even consider that necessarily at a daily level. Um, and we can go even down out to a weekly level, okay? A weekly level, and this would have been 32 weeks ago, 32 weeks ago, and yes, I mean, you'd be up 64 grand, right? This is with a leveraged, futures contract, right? But even there, we're not, when we're trading intraday, we're trading, I'm trading primarily a mini contract in our markets. I'm trading 5 to 7 markets. Not every single day am I trading all 5 or 7, but I'm prepared to trade 5 to 7 of them with a mini at any point during the day. Occasionally we will leverage a little bit more, but usually not. Um, when we go overnight on a daily, or certainly a weekly, and it's a trade, not an investment, we're going to use options, right? So we would have used options. Um, if we're going to go beyond a year, and we define the risk with the options. When we go, was going to say beyond a year, making an investment, we're not going to use any leverage, right? So just for our distinction. But if you want me to, and I'll put this back to see if I get it back to my second level, we'll customize this. You can actually do it. Oops. Did I hit that a little too fast? We can come here to in Q. We can actually do it at a tick level. So if you wanted to do not a single tick in this case is transaction, we could do 500 ticks, which would be 500 transactions. So 10 500 transactions ago, which was 1241, you'd be up 1200. And again, this trade here is still 400, 800, and is pushing up. Now we're asked all the time. You can do the reverse math on this. Each brick is in this instance is 400. When you're trading tick charts, whether they be Rinko, point and figure, tick charts themselves, line breaks, the brick sizes, the sizes that you use are critically important. Critical. If you make them too small, you trade too much, you introduce too much noise. You trade them too big, you're too slow, drawdown's too big. Um, we have a dedicated radar that is a proprietary tool that determines the brick size for any market. So you just plug in gold or silver or even on a stock, and it'll tell you what the recommended brick size is for the market that that symbol is experiencing. And that's how and why we're in the size we're in. Now, if the market changes, becomes faster or slower, then it will it will change. No, we have to make that change mechanically. It doesn't do it automatically. We have to make it mechanically. That makes sense. But I'm more than happy if you have a stock, Damien. I'm asking. I love to show off the baby. If you have a stock, how about silver? Right? Let's put we'll put this back in. Everyone, I'll put in this the continuous contract. Everyone's talking about silver, right? So silver's pulling back today, but let's put silver on a hourly basis. Want to do it? All right, silver on an hourly basis, 51 hours ago, if you had gone long. And by the way, I used this tool in the CME challenge, right? On the last day. I showed it silver. Why? Because silver on a daily basis was in euphoria. On an hourly, let's just put it on a daily. And so silver, 147 days ago, if you had gone in with a mini at 35.12, um, you'd be up 150 grand, one mini. Last week, I moved silver, went into euphoria, and then I set swing machine at an hour and I started shorting it. And that's how I made the move that I made in the last day. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. Um, I'm going to let you guys watch and think about your questions if you have any. And I'm going to be back in about at 2. And if there are no questions at that time, then I just got to get back to business. Oops. Um, but let me put in, I'm just going to put in the at in queue if you don't mind. No, made a mistake. At in queue. And by the way, that is a drawdown, but the market probably is. Swing Machines probably is going to probably get that right. I'm not suggesting that you trade it, but sometimes you can get, you know, you get really good, and um, we want to put this on a. I'm going to put this on a 5 minute level. I'll just put it on a 5 minute. Okay, and you see here the machine, if I had left that trade on, would have trailed out. Folks, I've got to step away. I'm going to let you watch. Be sure to visit the website, and at 2, I will be right back to answer any questions. Okay? Thanks. Okay, sorry about that. I had to catch up with Susie. So let's go to Tesla. If anybody's still here, I'm going to punch up Tesla. Okay, so this is kind of interesting, right? So on a 5 minute view, 53 5 minutes ago. Now, by the way, that's 9 points. So what we need to do is put Swing Machine into stock mode. So we come here. It's easy to do. We go to inputs. We change it from futures to set false, and we set it to stocks. And let's say that you're trading 25,000. Well, you may be trading an option, but we want it to calculate off of something. And so let me just hit OK. And so there you go. So if you had moved $25,000 into Tesla at 9:45 this morning, you'd be up 1.86%. You'd be up $470. Now, what about if you wanted to trade Tesla on a hourly? It's going to populate. So that was 122. Now I'm hiding the date. This would have been not 12:30 today. So let me put the date in here. We usually hide the date because everything is, let's see here, is usually the same day. But if we're hourly, it's going to be it's probably going to be on a different day, especially a stock. So, yeah, so Swing Machine went along on an hourly basis 122 hours ago at 4:18 at 12:30 on November 24th. And you're getting up there, but it can go higher. It can certainly go higher. So if you had put $25,000, you'd be up 16, not leveraged. You'd be up 16% or 4 grand. Now, what about a daily? Now this is going to make you puke. Oh, no, not so bad. Puke in a good way. 15. This thing's coming back. You can see it coming back. The machine did not trigger it. So the nice thing about the machine trading is that it can keep you in a trade or it can keep you out of a trade, and we're not big believers in trading what you see type thing. There are books written, trade what you see, because you begin to see things that aren't there. You begin to see ghosts, shadows. But you'd be up 13%. How about a weekly view? Let's go take a look. So if you had traded 32 weeks ago, you'd be up 39%. Well, Don, I'm an investor. That's all right. How about a a monthly view back in July? You would have more than doubled your money. Isn't that crazy? 18 months ago at 232. Now is not the time to buy Tesla, though. All right, so we're going to put that back to a 5 minute. Any other requests before we have to part ways? Each one of these is 400 bucks, right? So you got to advance and hold ground, advance, hold ground, advance, and you don't have to trade every minute of every day, right? We're not trying to get the very top. We're not trying to get the very bottom. We're playing for the middle. We're extracting cash flow from the money flow. We're making efficient use of our capital, and we're tracking profit factor. Got to have a positive profit factor. And if you're not tracking your profit factor, not only are you wasting time, but you're not grading your trading on the correct metric, and you don't know what to improve upon, right? So you can go out and shoot, 85 on the golf course, but I'm really tempted. I'm going to go ahead and put this trade on manually. Let's see if I can get away with it. I like the way it's reacting here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that trade on. I'm doing it manually. Um, and I'm going to also set myself a stop too. So let me get that up there. I want to get above that 25071, 25071, 072. Yeah, I'm going to put a buy stop there. So I'm risking $775 on this trade. Let's see how it comes out. If we come back up, you don't see it on this chart, but I got it right up above here. If she comes back, I could get tagged. Would be fairly expensive, but again, we're having a pretty nice day. We're having a pretty good week, so it's what we do. That what type of trade is that? It's manual. I'm also seeing on the 5 minute swing that she's trying to pull back. We'll see if we get away with it. Not the best entry. Would have maybe been a little better, but now the other piece is I got to make sure that I turn the machine off because I don't want to double up, right? I don't want to do. So let me not make a mistake here. Disable, and so the strategy is turned off at this point, and we'll see if we can pick one off here for you. Don't follow the trades necessarily. That's not going to do any good for you, but it just isn't. And if you're going from person to person to person, what we're about is we have folks that have come in and have blown us away, right? So it's not a zero sum game. Their success doesn't take away from mine or Susan's at all. Um, so we're trying to empower individuals to empower themselves. It isn't going to be, all right, Don's going to give, an analysis on this moving average, this stochastic time cycles, blah blah blah. If any of that stuff was working for anybody, let us know, and we'll build systems that speak to you in English and do that type of analysis, um, by machine, right? And we might get tagged here. We might on the bounce. Um, but I don't want to risk much more than that right now. A little late in the day. Any other questions at all? All those little yellow lines are showing up. I'm not sure where they came. Oh, I put those markers in. Remember, I was counting. Let me get rid of them. All right. Well, folks, it's 2 o'clock. We were only supposed to come up for about an hour. If you push the follow button on YouTube, you can follow on YouTube. You can follow on Twitter. We don't do that much on Twitter per se, but we announce different things maybe. And if you push the notification button, it'll come up. If you have an interest in becoming a monthly member, it's wide open. Um, and be sure to visit Stock Market Caddy. If you have an interest in becoming an annual member, you do need to go through something that we call a Q school. It slows it down, and you have to do that first before becoming an annual member. We will credit back the cost of the Q school, some 30%, but we really want to slow it down. We want to make sure that you're making the best decision for you. The question that everyone has in the beginning is, are these tools going to work for me? Everyone's individual. They're great tools, but we want to give you 3+ weeks to answer that question. All right, we just got tagged. So that's too bad, but we finished with a bogey. Um, if there's anything else, I'm going to wait just a few seconds, I guess a minute or so, to answer any other last question. Damien, thank you if you're still there. And annual members that might be passing by, once we bring this down, we're going to bring it back up. Just know that we bring it back up live. It won't be on YouTube, but it will be on the members webpage, and we'll put the program back on, and it'll be running. Thanks, everybody. We'll wait a few minutes and then we'll have to bring it down. Till next time.